Hello and welcome to or welcome back to my channel. I'm Marin and today's video is going to be my spring TBR. So let's go ahead and get into it. Now in 2025, I decided that I would be doing seasonal TBRs. So every 3 months you will see one of these videos. The first one I posted back in December of 2024. I'll link that one up above. But basically I created a list of 8 books that I would like to get to over the course of the next season because they have that season's vibe, if you will. Now I only read 4 out of the 8 of my winter books. So we will see if I can do a little bit better with the spring books. There's not like a consequence or something if I don't finish this list. I just kind of wanted to give you an idea of books that I'm going to be trying to fit into vlogs or things like that. So let's go ahead and take a look at the 8 books that I would like to read during the springtime. So the first one is a series book. This is a series continuation, and that is In the Weeds by B.K. Borison. I read Love Light Farms back in December and really enjoyed it, gave it 4 stars, so I want to read the rest of the books in the series. This series is a series of interconnected standalones, basically. So we'll see crossover with some of the characters, but the focus is on a new character. So this one is following Evelyn St. James and Beckett Porter. It says a grumpy farmer and a no-nonsense social media influencer have another chance at love in this charming romantic comedy. So again, I think of spring as a time for romance books, so this one is the first one on the list. I'm really looking forward to it, and I hope it's as good or better than Love Light Farms. Next on the list is actually solely on this list because of the cover, because tell me that the cover does not scream spring. I have no idea if the book itself actually will, but the cover makes me think springtime. So this is The Divines by Ellie Eaton. Now this does not have great reviews. This one has a 3.17 rating on Goodreads, so not great, but it still sounds interesting and I want to give it a go. This has been on my TBR for a while. I do not own this one, so I will need to get it from the library, but it says that this is a book that moves between present-day Los Angeles and a British boarding school in the 1990s, and it explores the destructive relationships between teenage girls. So I'll go ahead and read you a little bit more. It says, can we ever really escape our past? The girls of St. John the Divine, an elite English boarding school, were notorious for flipping their hair, harassing teachers, chasing boys, and chain-smoking cigarettes. They were fiercely loyal, sharp-tongued, and cuttingly humorous in the way that only teenage girls can be. For Josephine, now in her 30s, the years of St. John were a lifetime ago. She hasn't spoken to another divine in 15 years, not since the day the school shuttered its doors in disgrace. Yet now Josephine inexplicably finds herself returning to her old stomping grounds. The visit provokes blurry recollections of those doomed final weeks that rocked the community. So that's all I'll go ahead and say. It just sounds interesting. Whether or not I will enjoy it, I have no idea. That rating doesn't bode well, but it looks like a springtime book based on the cover, even though that synopsis doesn't sound springy at all. We're gonna go with it. I would like to read it over the course of the next 3 months. The next book on my list is one of my many Book of the Month books that I would like to read, but this is Peach Blossom Spring. This is by Melissa Fu, and I bought this one specifically for my spring TBR. Obviously, it has the word spring in the title, so I feel like it's got to have something to do with spring. There's cherry blossoms and things on it, so springtime. But let's go ahead and take a look at the synopsis. It says a moving debut novel about war, migration, and the power of telling our stories that follows 3 generations of a Chinese family on their search for a place to call home. Within every misfortune there is a blessing, and within every blessing the seeds of misfortune, and so it goes until the end of time. So this is set, again, this is like a multi-generational book, so we're going to move between timelines, but it starts off in 1938 China, and then it says years later we move to America. And it says, spanning continents and generations, Peach Blossom Spring is a bold and moving look at the history of modern China, told through the journey of one family. It's about the power of our past, the hope for a better future, and this haunting question: what would it mean to finally be home? I have heard really, really good things. This has been on my TBR since it was released. I picked it up as an add-on via Book of the Month like a few months ago because I, again, had it earmarked for this spring TBR. This was actually published in 2022, so I'm hoping I really like this. I have have heard really good things about it. I really like generational books and things like that, so that bodes well, but hopefully I will be able to get to this one and cross this one off and it will be a winner. Next on the list is another book of the month book, and that is Mame by Jessica George. Again, the cover of this is what's screaming springtime to me with the flowers. I think this is another like historical fiction-ish type book maybe, or maybe it's contemporary. I don't really know. I picked this one up in February of 2023, so it's been around for a while, but it says, it's fair to say that Maddie's life in London is far from rewarding. With a mother who spends most of her time in Ghana, yet still somehow manages to be overbearing, Maddie is the primary caretaker for her father, who suffers from advanced stage Parkinson's. At work, her boss is a nightmare, and Maddie is tired of always being the only Black person in every meeting. When her mom returns from her latest trip to Ghana, Maddie leaps at the chance to get out of the family home and finally start living. A self-acknowledged late bloomer, she's ready to experience some important firsts. She finds a flat share, says yes to after-work drinks, pushes for more recognition in her career, and throws herself into the bewildering world of internet dating. But it's not long before tragedy strikes, forcing Maddie to face the true nature of her unconventional family and the perils and rewards of putting her heart on the line. I have heard very, very good things about this, and even though, again, it doesn't sound necessarily springy in the true sense of the word, I think the whole idea of her trying new things and things like that kind of does relate to springtime. They mention late bloomer in the synopsis, so, you know, to me that means springtime. So yes, I'm looking forward to reading this one. I have heard great things. Hopefully I will really love this one. Next up is the final book of the month book on this list, and that is The Husbands by Holly Gramazio. This one, again, does not necessarily scream springtime except for the cover. The cover makes me think spring. This one is a romance-ish book, but I think it's more like coming of age and things like that. This was my pick from April of 2024. It says, when Lauren returns home to her flat in London late one night, she is greeted at the door by her husband, Michael. There's only one problem: she's not married. She's never seen this man before in her life, but according to her friends, her much improved decor and the photos on her phone, they've been together for years. As Lauren tries to puzzle out how she could be married to someone she can't remember meeting, Michael goes to the attic to change a light bulb and abruptly disappears. In his place, a new man emerges and a new, slightly altered life reforms around her. Realizing that her attic is creating an infinite supply of husbands, Lauren confronts the question, if swapping lives is as easy as changing a light bulb, how do you know you've taken the right path? When do you stop trying to do better and start actually living? This is another one I've heard very good things about. Obviously, this has romance vibes with the multiple husbands, but it's definitely more about her personal journey, which I again think fits with springtime as a season. So I'm hoping I love this one. I've heard good things. Let's cross our fingers that this is a winner. Next on the list is Happy Place by Emily Henry. This one was released in 2023. I am a little bit behind on her backlist. I have now read 3 books by Emily Henry. 1 I did not like at all. 2 I liked a lot, so we will see where this one falls. But we are following Harriet and Wynn. It says they have been the perfect couple since they met in college. They go together like salt and pepper, honey and tea, lobster and rolls, except now for reasons they're still not discussing, they don't. They broke up 5 months ago and still haven't told their best friends, which is how they find themselves sharing a bedroom at the main cottage that has been their friend group's yearly getaway for the last decade. Their annual respite from the world, where for one vibrant, blissful week they leave behind their daily lives, have copious amounts of cheese, wine, and seafood, and soak up the salty coastal air with the people who understand them most. Only this year, Harriet and Wynn are lying through their teeth while trying not to notice how desperately they still want each other, because the cottage is for sale and this is the last week they'll all have together in this place. They can't stand to break their friends' hearts, and so they'll play their parts. Harriet will be the driven surgical resident who never starts a fight, and Wynn will be the laid-back charmer who never lets the cracks show. It's a flawless plan if you look at it from a great distance and through a pair of sunscreen-smeared sunglasses. After years of being in love, how hard can it be to fake it for 1 week in front of those who know you best? So obviously, second chance romance. It's pink, so spring, even though the front makes it seem more like a summer book. We're putting it on this Spring TBR. Again, I'm hoping this is a winner. I've only read 1 book by her I didn't like. Hopefully this one will not. be another one. And I'm hopeful that this will maybe be my first 5-star by Emily Henry. The 7th book on my list is by a returning author. One book I liked, one book I didn't again, so this will kind of be maybe a deciding factor on if I keep reading books by her, but that is 6 Times We Almost Kissed and One Time We Did by Tess Sharp. This is a queer romance. It takes place, obviously, talking about past and present and following these 2 girls. So it says, 6 moments lead us to 2 girls, 1 kiss, and 3 little words that were maybe always true in this gorgeous novel, perfect for fans of Nina LaCour and Jenny Han. Now, I like Nina LaCour. I'm hit or miss with Jenny Han, so we'll see. But again, I have read from this author before, so we'll see how it goes. But it says, Penny and Tate have always clashed. Unfortunately, their mothers are lifelong best friends, so the girls' bickering has carried them through playdates, tragedy, and more than one rom-com marathon with the moms. When Penny's mother decides to become a living donor to Tate's mom, ending her wait for a liver transplant, things go from clashing to cataclysmic. Because in order to help their families recover physically, emotionally, and financially, the moms combine their households the summer before senior year. So Penny and Tate make a pact. They'll play nice, be the drama-free daughters their mothers need through this scary and hopeful time. There's only one little hitch in their plan. Penny and Tate keep almost kissing. It's just this confusing thing that keeps happening, you know, from time to time for basically their entire teenaged existence. They've never talked about it, they've always ignored it in the aftermath, but now they're living across the hall from each other, and some things, like their kisses, can't be almosts forever. So it sounds cute. Tess Sharp has a way of doing like some cute ideas, but then inserting some heavier topics, obviously with Penny's mom's health, or yeah, Tate's mom's health, sorry, and then the whole liver donor thing. There are going to be some heavier topics in here, but overall this sounds like a cute contemporary romance, and I'm looking forward to reading it. I did not like Tess Sharp's adult book, but I did really like her YA book. So that bodes well for this one. Hopefully I will enjoy it. And the final book on this spring TBR is going to be Wild Love by Elsie Silver. I have not read anything by this author, but I know that she gets hyped a lot and people really like her writing. I read a previous cowboy romance and enjoyed it, didn't love it, but enjoyed it decently well. This is also right, a cowboy romance. Also, it's pink. It's a romance, so springtime is perfect. It says she's been driving him wild for years, the good kind of wild, the bad kind of wild, but mostly the kind of wild that comes with wanting your best friend's little sister and knowing you can't have her. Now, I will say this setup sounds exactly like Done and Dusted by Lila Sage, because that was kind of the same sort of deal, but this one I think is going to hopefully be a little bit more in-depth and better written. I liked Done and Dusted, but I didn't love the writing of it necessarily, so hopefully this one's better. Again, I've heard good things about this author. This is where I kind of want to start. If I like it, I will pick up the other 2 books in the series and perhaps have a favorite cowboy romance. I don't know. But yeah, it's talking about Ford Grant, who's the world's hottest billionaire, and Rosie Belmont, the best friend's sister. So yeah, if you've read it, let me know. But yes, I'm really hoping I love this, so we'll see how it goes. But yes, here they all are. We definitely have a color scheme going on with this TBR, but I'm hoping I will be able to get to all of these and enjoy them all as well, particularly these Book of the Month books, which I really need to do better about reading. But if you've read any of them, please feel free to let me know down in the comments below. And otherwise, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to my channel if you would like to see more from me. And if you would like to leave me an emoji to show me you were here, go ahead and leave me a flower emoji of your choice for the season of spring, and I will see you in my next video. Bye everyone.